Welcome to Best Builds. In this edition of Best Builds, we're going to be going over Lindwurm Ivy. So Lindwurm Ivy is one of the best things in the game, in my opinion. And I noticed this on my first run. Essentially, you have a Wyvern, which has pretty good speed, pretty good bulk, a little bit of defense, some, good, decent magic stat, who can tank a hit or two, deal a lot of damage, and consistently kill. And this was before the well. After the well, it's just going to be much better. So this build has tomes, tome rank S, staff rank B. And let's just jump into what the build is. So let's start with weapons. So the weapons are very simple. You have Bolganone, Thoron, Nova, and Excalibur. And mostly you should be using Bolganone and to some degree Thoron. Nova can be an option for way later on, but you're going to need pretty good build to deal with its weight because it is a brave tome, so it's a brave weapon. Brave weapons are always heavy, but Bolganone should really be your main thing. Now, Ivy is going to need some speed fixing to double consistently. She is reasonably fast, but to get her to double fast enemies or even above average speed enemies, she's going to want some kind of speed fixing. So let's talk about passives. So for the top row, we have Canter and Speed Plus or Speed Taker. Any of these are fine. You also have Magic Plus, which is something you'd be getting later on. Or if you want some more damage earlier, you have Gentility. Now, Gentility reduces damage by 3 and 5 at base and then plus rank. And you can flip it to Bravery mode by having your Erica user change modes. And also, if the Erica user is engaged, you get both Gentility and Bravery. So plus 3 to 5 damage for pretty low SP cost. It's 2k SP for base Gentility, 3k SP for plus Gentility plus. All right, and then for the next row, we have Tome Precision for hit avoid plus 15. Mostly you're going to be using this for avoid stacking for dodging if you want it. You could also use it to increase your hit rate, which can be not low, but like 70s to 80s, so that also can be useful. Draconic Hex is really good on Thoron builds or just for general debuffing. So if you don't want her to go for doubling, you just want a more utility unit that has staff access that can debuff and chip damage on Thoron, that's an option. Resonance is good because it increases tome damage. It's actually true damage as well. So you can just boost your damage up a little bit. I would argue Gentility is better if you know how to play around it to trigger Bravery constantly, but it's also pretty decent. And then, of course, Holdout for tanking, so that if you were to, get one shot by an archer or just die, you would get a jail-free card. All right, in the bottom row, dual support can be good with A-rank supports for dodge tanking. Quality time can be good if staff botting or just using Thoron debuff. So you debuff with Draconic Hex and then constantly chip heal your allies. And then Staff Mastery can be good for offensive staves and increasing healing. But the top row, I would say, is the best. Second row, second best. Third row, utility / optional. Oh yeah, and then for the other weapons, it's just staves. So you should have like one or two of these. You can have Excalibur for anti-air, but really you should probably just be sticking to Bolganone and Thoron. And then you should have like Treat. You can have like Treat and Physic, Treat and Mend, Treat or Mend, and then like Obstruct. So I would always have a Treat or a Mend so that you can spot heal, and then you can have Physic, Obstruct, Warp, Rewarp, or Restore, and whatever staff you want. But usually I have like some combination of these. I usually have like a Mend and a Rescue, a Mend and or a Treat and a Obstruct. Can't go wrong with those. For Emblem Rings, these are in order of best to worst for this build. So Lin is the absolute best build if you want to go for doubling on Bolganone. You get a ton of speed fixing. You can also pull out a bow to shoot things down, which kind of reduces the need for Excalibur, but her strength isn't that high. So debatable as to how good that will be, but you get insane speed fixing. You can also create clones. You can create flying clones too, which is nice. But really you would just use this with Bolganone just a one round and kill things. On Byleth, you get speed and magic plus Goddess Dance. So you get damage increase, higher base speed, and you can also AoE dance on a dragon. So you're flying AoE dance, which is pretty nice. Corrin is nice for a free Draconic Hex quality time combo so that you can debuff enemies and heal allies. This is more like the Thoron route. So if you want her to just be a staff bot that uses Thoron to deal 50 to 60% of enemies' HP per hit, plus debuff them, set up kills on bosses easily, this is a really good route. And usually you could run this, like you might want to run this on like a Sage, because then you get access to Fire Vein, which is a lot better than the Heal Vein you get on Flyer, but you can still Thoron freeze, and it's still viable, it's still good if you don't want to change her off Lindwurm. Micaiah is good for staff botting if you want her to be your warp, rewarp, rescue unit who can move large groups of allies around while also carrying like Thoron and Bolganone to deal damage. So kind of similar to like Hortensia. Like Hortensia and Ivy are very similar in terms of the fact that they both get like good rank tomes and good rank staves, except it's flipped. So Hortensia gets B tomes and S staves, but warp and rewarp are all, and rescue are all B. Or actually, I'm sorry, rewarp is C, but warp and rescue are B rank. So she can be a Micaiah warper. Like there's no reason she can't be. So she can do this pretty well. She can also run Celica for the magic increase, for the effective corrupted tome, for the echo combos if you have a bunch of chain assist. That can be pretty effective. Also the Warp Ragnarok on Ivy is pretty good for repositioning. But you know, you also get extra damage from free resonance plus, so you get quite a lot from this. You get quite a bit of damage, tome damage on Celica, and then of course Sigurd is good for the free canter and the build increase to make Bolganone and to some degree Nova and Thoron weightless. You get free canter, you get momentum damage, you can override, but obviously she's not going to be overriding with tomes, so really it's just for the free canter, the momentum damage, and for the extra movement and build increase. But overall I would say these are probably, I actually think I should switch these. I think this is better on her on Sage if you want to run her as Sage. Let's actually move these around. So we have Corrin goes here. I think Micaiah is better on Lindwurm. On Lindwurm. Yeah, I think it should be. These are the top three, I think. All right. And then for engravings, she actually wants engravings that aren't highly contested, which is very nice. So her main thing, like her might is pretty good on this class. And with Bolganone, she does pretty good damage. Most enemies are pretty weak to magical damage. They have poor res. So really you just want accuracy fixing. So you can go for accuracy fixing and dodge tanking simultaneously if you want to run some kind of dodge tank build, which is a possibility. So if you run Lin, you get high speed. Speed equals avoid. If you also run like Tome Precision and like Magic Plus or Gentility, you could get away with extra damage plus, you know, plus 15 more avoid. So you add in like an emblem like Lucina, you get plus 30 hit and avoid. You also reduce weight by 1 and damage by 1. You're looking at plus 45 avoid just from this and this. And then, you know, plus 20 to 30, maybe 40 avoid from all the speed from these, from running Lin rather. But you could run speed plus this and that, or just this, like dual support and position well. But this is good just for hit fixing, even if you're not going for dodge tanking. Same thing with Lin. Lin increases accuracy. It does reduce damage by 2, but it also reduces weight. These both reduce weight and damage, but increase accuracy. This gives you some crit. This gives you accuracy, but increases incoming crit. And what else? I think it reduces avoid. But this gives you hit increase, and it does not reduce damage at all. So this is good for that. It also gives you crit. So both of these give you a little bit of crit, so that, you know, if you're just Thoroning things 1 out of 5 times, you get a crit, roughly speaking. All of these also hit fix. All of these engravings hit fix. So Sigurd plus hit 20 and avoid, -1 weight, +1 damage. This is like one of the most highly contested engravings in the game. It's pretty much wanted by every single unit. But if you throw this on her Bolganone, it's just a huge advantage. You know, hit +20, avoid +20, helps her passively dodge tank. Olir improves everything by a little bit. It improves like hit as well, and it's pretty free, but it's very late game. And then Byleth also improves hit, but it increases weight, so I put it last. So this is like best, this is the worst. But overall, this is a pretty fun unit to use. She's one of the few flyers who can use tomes. She's a unique class. She also has a passive that just gives her free damage randomly based on her dex, which isn't the highest, but it's high enough that like 1 out of 5 attacks, you'll just get some bonus damage based on enemy's magic, which is nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Pretty solid builds, very standard Ivy. I mean, some people might not know how to build her, so I think this is helpful for those people. But yeah, definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed this or found this useful. Feel free to drop a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.